Hi, good evening. Good evening to everyone. Welcome to Mike at Night. Thank you very much for joining us. We're so happy to have you with us this evening. Today is Thursday, and as you know, we join ourselves together on a Thursday, 8 o'clock to about 9 o'clock thereabout. Happy to have you all. As we usually tell you, share the line. Get on your page, press share, and share it on your page, and share it to other people. Just forward it. That is how we are going to get people to get the word out that Mike at Night is on, and we try to give some value to everybody. Let me say hello to everybody. Those who have joined us on Facebook, we're really happy to have you. Let me see who we have on. We have our regulars, I see. Charmin Boys, always on time. Yeah. Nice having you. Roseman Robertson, good evening to you. And all those who are with us from various aspects of this different parts. If you are from any part, let's say that you are a first-time caller or first-time listener, say something. Let us know that you're on. And if it is that you could just tell us where you're from, which country, whatever it is, so that we know what the demographics that we're dealing with. All right, so welcome everybody. Enjoy. Nice that you stayed up tonight and you could be able to be on. Annabella. Good, good, good. Let me see all of you all coming on there. Wonderful. Tonight we have a nice topic, Did we have a nice topic last week? Of course. But tonight we have another nice topic. Every night. All right. So share the live. Let me, while we're doing that, let me just introduce you to a program that we have coming up, which will link into the topic that we are having this evening. This program is how to say it so others get it. How to say it so others get it. If you want to be part of this program, because there are things that we can't deal with online and we don't have enough time to do everything. 1 hour, you can't get it done. So we're going to have a separate session. We're going to give you some of it tonight, but we'll have a separate session on it. And all you need to do to register to be part of this is to put your phone on picture and take out that Q code, and it will send you straight to the page to register. As you see, the cost to register is on the screen. You can be able to see there, and you make your decision if you want to learn. This is for people who are in relationships, because many times we spoil relationships because we say the wrong thing in the wrong way to the wrong people at the wrong time. We've got to learn to say it right the first time and learn to hold our tongue. The Bible says that the ship is turned about with a little helm, but the tongue is able to control us and nobody could control it. All right, so those in relationship, but also you have co-workers who say some bad things, employers, supervisors, etc. And subordinates talk rudely to some things, and they have seen people lose their job because of their mouth. Hostile. And of course, you know, in families, we always have some issues in families. Families always with some issue together. So we made this program affordable. $20 US or $150 TT. If you are serious about developing yourself, avail yourself of that. And that is November 4th. That starts at 6 p.m. Okay, so I want you to consider seriously taking that program. Glenda Allen, yes, people, all the rock and come in. Rock and come in. No, I know people that say rock and come in. That is English. This is E-E-N, double E-N, rock and come in. Rachel, Rajaram, good evening to you. All right. Joan Phillips Spear from Virginia, Woodbridge, Virginia. Streaming live. What nice having you, man. Hillary Richards. It's so good whenever we look out there and see our regulars. All right. So we're talking about learning to be able to know. You could, even while the program is going on, you could take a picture of the Q code, or if you want, you just give me a telephone call at 868-688-5363. make sure you register as early as possible. All right. So let's get the program going. I see we have quite a number of people on already. Tonight, we're talking about something very, very important. 7 reasons people say things that they do not mean, including you. How many times have you said some things that you really did not mean, but out of the frustration that you're in, you say some things because somebody hurt you, you want to hurt them back. It was somebody who said, I don't know who it is, but I like it, that if you don't heal from the wounds of your past, you will bleed on someone who never cut you. And how many times people are in relationships and the issues that they have came from their childhood. The issues that they have came from the ex, the man they left or the woman they left, etc. But they are caught up in being so much in the past hate and past hurt that they say unsavory things to the person that they are with even today. Okay, so let's go. Let's see if we could get that going today. Now, I bring in from an article that was written by Jack Dolan, and it was last updated in the 9th of January this year. So it is quite current, quite current. These people have studied their stuff, and I think I like what he wrote, etc. My little sister, Deanne, loving sweet sister, Deanne Robinson, good to have you. Precious Ellie, Joanna Peters, Guyana, nicely. Rock and come in, Joanna, all rock and come in. Nice. So, there are 7 reasons that we're going to talk about, and hopefully we're going to get into some of the aspects of how do you now stop this? You know that sometimes some of us have some real bad mouth with things. And what the gentleman said is this, is that they know they shouldn't say certain things. You know, and I know that we shouldn't say certain things because words hurt. And yet, you can't unring the bell. Once you ring the bell and you say, you can't unring it. Let me tell you, words carry energy. So you could say something that encourages someone, lift them up, make them feel full of themselves, make them feel proud. But you can also say things that drains a person's energy. That when you are finished with them, they feel beaten and battered, demoralized, humiliated. Yes. And we've got to learn to stop that. Got to learn to stop that. It does nothing to the other person. And it worse yet, it does nothing to us. In fact, it affects us more who say it than the people who we say it to. The people we say it to feel hurt, yes. But what does that say about you and about me when we have to use these words? Now, when you compliment somebody, it energizes them because it's energy. But when you criticize people and you condemn people and you ridicule people, you're draining the energy. Let me say your question. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. That is what the Bible says, Annabelle. Annabella, you are right. Absolutely right. Precious says, amen. That's why the saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words do not harm me is very false. I have said so on this program already. It makes no sense. I don't know who is the clown that came up with that phrase. It sounds nice, but it is so wrong. I'm telling you. All right. Leona Francis, come in. Rock and come in. Sugar S. Sugar S, first time I'm seeing Sugar S on, but welcome. Right? This is our Mike at Night program. We deal with relationships mostly and how we get along with each other. So let's go. Let's go. So we said once you say it, you can't unring that bell. Right? Once you say it's out there, and even if the other person forgives you, listen to this. Even if the other person forgives you, it still resonates in the person's heart. long after they have forgiven you. It is hard. I tell you, it is hard for somebody to hurt you with words, insult you, embarrass you, and cause your self-esteem to drop. And then you say sorry and think that life should just move on just so it don't happen. So long after that, your wife is still musing over those pain and what the words you said. She's going to ask herself, did you really mean it? Long after, madam, after you've insulted your husband and told him those hurtful things, he is still wondering, why is it she told me that? Why must she say so? And why must she operate in that way? That's the reality of it. And you tell me that people who are adults now, who would have been told things by their parents while they were young, and still in the adulthood, married with children, still hurting over what their parents told them. Don't take that easy. Don't take that light. Words hurt, especially when it comes from the people we love. Oh my goodness. We have a saying, Joanna Peter, let me tell you, we have a saying in, well, I don't know if it is in other places too, but here's what the saying is. The worst dog bite is when you get bite by your own dog. That is what it means, Joanna. When you said that it hurts mostly when it is people we love. That is when your own dog bites you. No dog bite worse than that. Yes. So thank you very much. Marva Celestine Miguel, wonderful. Come in, Marva. Rachel April, the words who hurt, I live around people who say hurtful things daily, and these words who hurt me emotionally and mentally. I feel it. I feel it, Rachel. Yeah? And a lot of people, I sure feel you. They understand what you're talking about. So we've got to evolve and start becoming better at what we say to people. So let's start with number one. Yeah? Number one. Why do people say things they do not mean? According to this gentleman, I'm quoting from Jack Dollar, who wrote this article. It's a learned bad behavior. A learned bad behavior. Because even from childhood, children grow up in homes where they watch parents cuss, fight, and hurt each other with words and say the meanest things. And as they grow up, they tend to do the same thing. They go to school, and whenever they are unhappy with somebody, the words that come out of their mouth are usually negative, hurtful words. Where did they get that from? Imuma and Ipupa. That is where they get them from. We did that. This is not juvenile delinquency problem. This is adult delinquency problem. We train them badly. And we allow children to witness some of the worst fights, worst hurts that is unimaginable. What a tragedy, what a travesty for us to do that. I tell you, God has to come down and put a hand. As my mother used to say, Father, take the wheel, because she can't drive no more. Father, to take the wheel from me. Davika, rock and come in, Davika. All right. It is unfair. When you watch some children and you listen to how they answer back to people, adults, you know they get it from childhood. But then now we grow into a relationship, and we are in a relationship with a woman or with a man, and the kind of things that come out of our mouth to say. This gentleman who wrote this article says, many times it comes from our childhood, and we grow into it in adulthood. It has become a habit. It has become a lifestyle. It has become a raison d'etre. The reason that we think that we have to exist like this way, we have become exactly that. And so he went on to say that a child who grows up around screaming, yelling, and other domestic issues, where people don't converse and have a conversation and talk to each other, but they shout and scream and quarrel with each other and use expletives. Wow. They say what happens with that is that the child develops those social habits. They mirror those things over and over until they become unaware that they are doing them. Now that is sad. When somebody is not even aware of how hostile they are, you work with some of those people, they say some things and they say some hurtful things, and trust me, they're really not cognizant of the hurtful thing that they said. You work with some bosses, some supervisors that would insult you and say something, and they really did not see it as being an insult. They see it as plain talking. I'm just a straight talker. I say my mind. You see? That's how they interpret it. But sometimes it is rudeness, arrogance, narcissistic tendencies. That's what you have. That people justify and justify and justify. But he said it's a bad habit, and that like that they are hard to break because it is difficult to undo decades of habit and negative reinforcement. Woe unto you if you're in a relationship with somebody who don't know how to hold their tongue, who don't know when visitors are around and when you are around strangers and when you're out in the public and you're in social setting, that there are things that they should not say now. Woe unto you whenever you are in a relationship and the spouse that you are with can only tell you things that you have done wrong, but cannot find the time to tell you the things that you do right. And if you ask them, so wait, I don't do nothing right, they say yes. Well, why you don't tell me? Well, I didn't know that I needed to tell you, but I never asked you to tell me what is wrong, but yet you choose to tell me what is wrong. Why can't you just tell me what is right too? Why can't you tell me what is doing good, what I'm doing good also? You all get me? Yeah. Traumatized adults is what we have. Well, as to Facebook, so is a set of psychopaths, a set of sickos who everything that they find, they could say on that Facebook business. But we like it so. Anyway, I digress. So number one, he says, it's a learned bad behavior. Number two, why people say the things that they don't mean. Poor impulse control and emotional regulation, which means it's poor impulse control, which means I cannot control my impulse, my ability to just spontaneously say things. As soon as something comes to my mouth, I don't think it through, I don't process it, I just say. So I can't control that because part of it is habit, and the next part is I have not trained myself to do so. And bad emotional regulation. There are some people who have no emotional awareness, no sense of awareness in their life. And he's saying that that also contributes towards people. Let me explain something to you. There are two parts of the brain that I want to point out to you. The limbic brain, the limbic part of the brain, which is impulse, spontaneous, reactive. All of us have that. It's a good part of the brain because if we are crossing a road and we hear a sudden noise of a horn blaring, making a loud as though the person stood up on the horn, you need your limbic brain to make a spontaneous impulse decision to jump back to the pavement, because that few seconds could save your life. So it's good. But when we don't train it, that when somebody says something to us that we don't like, that we feel insulted with and hit, we allow the impulse of whatever comes to our mouth, and we call them hostile names, and we call them very derogatory terms. How could you call your spouse some of these names that we hear people call? I'm not going to say some of them. Whether it's the man to the woman or the woman to the man. How could you and call yourself a civil person, civilized person? When children can stand and curse their parents, and they can and will curse anyone. Now they're cursing teachers. Teachers who are responsible for the bringing up of people to take place in society, to be proudly taking jobs and profession in society. You dare curse a teacher? What kind of man is it that nowadays you couldn't do that? No, sir. But then again, all teachers also move with a certain level of respect. They dressed respectfully. They operated in society respectfully. So therefore, they commanded a certain amount of respect. There are some teachers, not all, who would, during Carnival, whine on students and dress in very provocative ways and expect a child to come back to school and respect it. Never happened. But the teachers of long ago, and I say so with no fear, no fever, I saying it as how it is, and I'm saying it as how I know it here. It might be different because I know we have people from different places, Guyana, St. Vincent, we have people in Bermuda and a number of places listening. So I don't know how it is in your spaces there. But teachers did not engage themselves in certain things because they respected their profession. Yeah? But now, it's as though when some teacher leaves school, they mean to say, then I'm not working now, so I could do and behave now, but you have children watching you. Children watching you. I remember that a child was watching television and saw their teacher in one of these functions with their underwear in their face. The child was horrified. That is my same teacher. Anyway, Lyndon said when they removed the strap from the school and the home, everything went haywire. So we talk about people saying things that they should not say. Impulse, sudden, and they react. It just comes out of their mouth. So that is the limbic brain that we are telling you about. But the other side of the brain I wanted to tell you about is the brain that is called, the part of the brain that is called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the wisdom side, the side of the brain that processes things, works it up, balances it, and says, this is how I feel, but this is how I think I should respond. I should not allow that. But this part of the brain, while the limbic part is fast and does things, that's why they call it impulse. The prefrontal cortex is slower. This is why our parents said, sleep on it. Count to 10. They may not have understood what they were saying, but because of that part of the brain needs time to come to a conclusion. So it's slower. It is when somebody trains their brain properly, they know how to hush them out long enough till they have thought it through before they say certain things. And many times in relationships, people do not think things through. When they vex, they vex. When God and spoiled the child, God knew why he said it. Yeah. All right. So, impulse is one of the reasons why people say things that they don't mean. And he said, trauma and many mental illnesses may cause people to have impulsive emotional reactions that they cannot necessarily control. We take that. There are some people diagnosed, they have a little challenge. So that's okay. So sometimes he says, the words may come out of your mouth before your conscious thought processes and have time to realize what you're about to say. You know, people sometimes, bad words fly out of their mouth. And it's after they say, they realize what they said. I was watching a video, a lady is singing in church. And she's singing in church, and she is energetic in the choir and so on. And as she dancing and so on, and as she bow in one of those notes where she go down to, a wig fell off. She forgot she had the microphone in her hand. When she saw her wig fell off in front of the whole crowd and on whoever it is was streaming it, an expletive automatically flew out of her mouth. And I'm not talking no small expletives. Construction language came out of her mouth. Automatically. Now, ask yourself, is this accidental or is it that she normally uses it? And it just naturally now came out because it is habitual. And it is likely that it is habitual why it came out of her mouth at that time, much to her chagrin and embarrassment. Jacqueline Charles, good evening. Frida, hope you're feeling better. Yes, I was trying to call you, but good to see you. Well, you can come in, people. Joanna says, I do it all the time. I come from 1 to 10. Where you're better? And ask myself if it is worth responding to any negative comments. Absolutely. Give yourself time. Let the wisdom side of your brain kick in. A wise person hold their tongue. This is why the Bible says, be quick to hear, slow to speak, and be slow to anger. All right, nice, reader. Glad to hear that you're doing better. Much, very happy about that. All right. So we continue. So he said that people may lash out hard as a defensive mechanism to keep from being harmed in some way. Let me explain what that means. A defense mechanism is what we do to protect ourselves from a situation that we don't feel comfortable. So we ourselves may have an insecurity, and we're going to talk about that just a bit more. We have an insecurity, but we hide that insecurity with this bravado, this loudness, this anger, this shout, and so on. And your husband may not know how to say sorry. So he uses insults in order to still remain strong. Your wife may have known that she messed up, but she's not giving up that point at all. She will argue down to the bone. Yes. Say I reach or let's start early again. Said no me and you tonight. Rachel said some children who come from homes where cursing, alcohol, fighting is seen. Some children grow up with that mindset. Some children also tell themselves when they reach adulthood and they have their own, when they grow up with their children, so it is okay for them to take that mindset into their generation. Yeah. I remember there's a gentleman who was going to buy a piece of land, and the person took them to a place to show the land, and the man loved the land, nice piece of land. So he started to ask, who are the other people living around here? And they started to call the name. But one family name that he called, the man said that years ago, when I was living in this country, the grandparents of this generation here, that man was a cusser and a fighter. And he said, I am not buying any land anywhere near that family because there's a high chance that generation still cussing. Well, to be honest, he was right. Because this is that the grandchildren now, and that's all they do all day. With anybody who passes, for any reason, they still cuss. You see how far he does land now? Hey, let me see. Joan said, I raised my children who were born in the USA with face gestures. Joan, you're me laughing because just this week they're talking about how our mother, when you have visitors in the home and she wants to tell all you keep quiet, tell us to keep quiet or to behave on herself. There's a way she look at you that says, behave yourself. With no words, behave yourself. And that would calm us down. That would tell us no. And there's a way that you will watch us that says, as soon as these people leave here, you are going to get one piece of whipping. Just with the look. I don't know how to give the look. Joan might know how the looks used today. It was orchestrated. Those kind of looks there. But we knew what the looks mean. Today you look at a child and the child will look you back in the face. Anyway, any funny moment when you're out, I just turn my head and dig them a bad eye. When I watch them from the waist up, that's a warning. It is from the feet up. You got the belt coming. Oh, okay. Let me see this. When I watch from the waist up, it's a warning. All right. And when you watch from the feet up, then that means you got the belt coming. All right. So when I learned that now, I got to try that with the grandchildren. I will try that. I don't know if it's going to work, but I will try that. I know that when our parents called us by our full government name, it wasn't nice. It was not nice. When they call you by your thank you, by your full name, if you, let's say my name is Michael Stewart, which my name is Mr. Michael Stewart, you know, you may not see tomorrow. Yep, you have to pray for added grace. That means she is eviscerated. I don't know if it's a word, but we're going to use it for now. All right. What's next? All right. Veronica Joseph said, mature people think and talk on like children talk whatever they feel to say. Yeah. You are right. Look like I wasn't schooling, I missed a lot of this chat that went down. Not all adults, Charmaine said, I'm not too sure what she is talking about. All right, my mom still have the look. Lyndon and your mother are there, so watch yourself. Good evening to you, sir. Have a wonderful night. Okay, Camille. Yeah. And let me tell you, Lyndon, and I guess Lyndon, even at his age, still have high regard. Lyndon is a married man with his own child, but still have high regard and respect for his mother. A lot of us still in our age, still regard our parents with high respect. That should never go away. Ever, ever go. All right, so let's go down. Number 3. So let me, for those of you who came late, which unfortunately you did, why people say the things that they don't mean. Number 1 is because they have learned it. It is a bad habit that they learned from a long time. It is hard for them to break. 2, the poor impulse control, emotional, they cannot control the emotional feelings. If they feel that way, they don't care what they see and how they behave. Unfortunately, when you're in a relationship and those things take place. All right, so number 3. For empathy and misunderstanding, he says. For empathy and misunderstanding. Right, we're going to do this one and then we're going to make a quick break to tell you about the program that we have coming up. For empathy and misunderstanding, because they don't register as hurtful. Let me explain what they say. There are sometimes that a person says hurtful things, and because they don't see it as being hurtful or insulting, they don't think you should either. I wonder if you could follow me. Somebody ever tell you something that you find it was out of place for them to say, inappropriate for them to have said, and they see nothing wrong with it, even though you tell them that you don't feel comfortable with it, you're hurt by what they said, and they don't feel it, and they don't think you should either. So there he is saying that there are people with poor empathy. Empathy is putting yourself into somebody else's shoes. And they don't see, why you can't handle it in any way. So he says everyone has a different threshold. And we've got to recognize that we have a threshold difference in it. There are some people sensitive, and there are some people very thick skin, he calls it. Thick skin and thin skin. If you are married to a hard-skinned person who uses that hard skin to constantly tell you hurtful things, and you are thin-skinned, woe be your portion if that person is without empathy. Now, what he's saying is, not only you have it where you might have a man who is thick-skinned saying it to a woman who's thin-skinned. You have it where women also are thick-skinned saying it to a thin-skinned man, and completely badgering, bludgeoning his whole emotion with all those hurtful things and pain and worries that she onslaughts on him and he onslaughts on him. I'm not hearing clearly, so the volume kind of low in the line. All right, well, that's the first one to tell me that. I wonder who else is having that problem. Let me just double check that. All right, anybody else having problem in hearing me? Rose, I think you might have to pump up your volume. All right, if anybody else having problem, let me know. So, poor empathy, people who cannot put themselves and feel for other people. All right, nice, thank you, Rose. Some people, and he says, additionally, greater challenges arise when these people are in a relationship together, and one is high in being harsh, and the other one is very, very sensitive to those harsh words. Nice, Rose. I'm happy that you hear me. Charmaine, you drop out on us, man? All right. So, he said, after all, a pointed attack on a sore spot can cause great harm. There are people who are living in relationships that they are sad, they are demoralized, and they are empty in that relationship only because the energy level of the words that are being thrown at them not good. All right. Let me take this opportunity while we're doing that to just help some of you all who just joining us. I want you to see this course that we have coming up. It's a short program. We made it affordable for everybody because we recognize all of us have some measure of communication challenge. How to say it so others get it. We are going to teach you how to rephrase what you say to get the response from people that you would like. Some of you are in relationships And because you have not learned the skill of how to say what you want to say, you have caused pain or you have lost relationship because of it. We're going to help you with that. There are some people who cannot handle some of the things on the job because of what the boss is telling you or your co-workers tell you. You usually leave without the energy. We could tell you how to be able to say those things. And I meet so many people in senior positions says, listen, just show me or tell me how can I talk to my staff? Because I say things and I say it normally, but somehow or the other, the staff get it wrong because you're saying it in a way that may not translate the way you mean it, because you're not saying it as you want to mean it. So it's how to say it so others get it. And of course, in families, it is also a difficulty also. So you'll see on the screen that barcode. All you have to do is just take your phone and put it on video or on picture, and it is going to take you straight to the page where you can pay for the program. And then we're going to give you all the response. We're going to send you the Zoom link, etc. This is a Zoom virtual event. It is not face-to-face, so whichever part of the world you're in, you can sign up for this program. Okay? Nicely, people. Wonderful. All right, so let's see if we could go back to our regular programming. So we're down to number 3. I tell you, we can't get through it all. This is why we will have to run some of these programs. Otherwise, and the reason why we're charging for some of those programs is because people must put more value on things that they pay for. If people pay, they tend to attend. If they're not paying, they tend to register and tell you that they will attend and they don't attend. So when somebody has already paid, then they tell us, nah, I want my money worth. And they demand their money's worth. And we love to let people get their money's worth. All right. So let's get back now to it. Self-sabotage is the next one. Will we finish with that one with poor empathy? I think so, yes. Self-sabotage and low self-esteem. That's one of the reasons that they said we have some of the challenges in relationships because people are self-sabotaging. La mimi resurrect. Right. La mimi, what do you mean by what's going on here? All right. Self-sabotage and low self-esteem. What is he saying is that there are some people, they are damaging their own self. And part of it is that they have a self-esteem issue. People who say things they don't mean may do so because they don't feel good about themselves, says this gentleman. Yep. And for if you just join me, let me tell you who he is. His name is Jack Dolan, who wrote an article January this year. So he said they don't feel good about themselves. If somebody doesn't feel good about themselves, they tend to be hostile because they don't appreciate who they are, but they don't want to expose the way how they are not comfortable with who they are. If somebody you might find somebody who may be illiterate. And in the time when I used to work in a particular department, you'll have people who will come in and they are angry with you for any and every reason. And one particular gentleman, you could see that. So what we had to do all of these forms and so on, all is a set of writing and so on. And he was very angry. And he would find a number of things to complain about. And I tell myself, I have a feeling this boy cannot write or cannot read. So I went across to him and I said, so could I fill out the form with you? Yeah, because I find he's tripping this man, and he continues. And I fill out part of the form, but there's another part he needs to put in the information. When I gave it to him, You write it, you write it. I will tell you what to write. So I wrote it. When he came to his signature, he could barely write his own signature. That's why he was carrying on like that. People who have a self-esteem issue, often you could guess it. And when people are hostile and angry and saying hurtful things, sometimes they have a problem. They are fighting internal demons. Feel sorry for them. Don't hate them. Feel sorry for them. All right. So he says that this is what happens. And after they don't love or care about themselves, how can this other person love and care for me? Because they doubt themselves. You can't love me. So even if you try to do good to that person will doubt that you are genuinely being nice to them. They'll always find a reason why that is not so. All right? So the conflict and negative actions are a way for the person to push their partner away. Because here's what happens. When the partner leaves or is pushed away, they can point to the failed relationship and say one out of two things. You see, I knew they wouldn't have stayed. That is why I didn't give them my heart, and that is why I didn't settle down. That is why I wasn't taking them on. So they will be right. Or they will go the other route. They will say, see, because I wasn't good enough, that's why they left me, because they had a self-esteem problem. So their bad behavior chased the person away, and they say, that is why the person didn't stay, because I'm not good enough. But the person was good enough, but they got to a point of intolerance with their bad behavior and the things that they said with them. So, and here's the interesting part that he said, that this type of behavior isn't necessarily a conscious choice. And I want you to understand that. Some of the people who are suffering from these things that they say, that where their mouth doesn't go into gear, they are not conscious of it. Sometimes it's just a reaction to the discomfort that a person with low self-esteem may feel when with someone who loves and cares about them. Oh boy, we really hurt people around us who care only because we are hurting. Hurting people hurt people. Number 5. What time is it? Number 5. Ego and the desire to win. Here's what he says. Humans are competitive by nature. Arguments are competitions, and some people interpret an argument as something that must be won rather than resolved. Rather than resolved. So we argue not to be able to resolve and solve a problem, even though we are seeing that the argument that we're arguing is a pointless argument. And my father used to say that when he used to say to me when I was arguing with him, your point is a pointless point. That is what he used to tell me. So even though the person is going to realize, you know, I really now see what the person is saying, but it's too late. You stand up so strong on your point and you're afraid to back down. So you're just going through and you're continuing to plow through to defend an indefensible position. No. So that is what some people do. They argue to win you. And here's what they do to determine that they win. They badger you and bludgeon you so much that the fact that you back down tells them they won. When it wasn't a solution, but it's just that the other person got fed up or could not keep on arguing with you. So when a husband stops arguing, you tell yourself that, hey, you see, you calm down now and you feel good about yourself. But you're just fed up. You're in a relationship and you tell yourself, but it makes no sense even having an opinion with this person. It is waste of time having an opinion, being married or being in a relationship with this person, because they see no other side but theirs. And the more that you get quiet, the more they felt that their argument was so strong. But they just don't know that they just wounded you so much that you just don't have enough stamina to continue arguing with them. Good evening, Avril. Avril, you're late. Go to the quadrangle and stand up. Some people talk what about person who just stay silent while they are trying to have a conversation with them. Some people talk, yeah. And they ask, what about the person who just stays silent while you are trying to have a conversation with them? Well, we have the passive aggressive. So Frida, that one we could talk about also is that side where there are ones who argue all the time and there are ones who say nothing and they're just silent there. All right. All right. So he says, what is the difference between the person who's arguing and the person who is trying to resolve? What's the difference? He said, well, winning an argument often entails just shutting the other person down. That's what the aim is, to shut them down. That's why we talk louder than they are. That's why we curse more than them. And the louder and the more cursing they do, we will trump that. It's not to be more sensible, it's not to be more civil, it's not to be more reconciliatory. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with shutting you down. Me shutting you down. That's why I'm shouting and screaming at you. You see? So he says that's what it is, and they seem like a good thing in the competitive person, because the competitive person tries to out-argue, right? Out-insult you, if there is such a phrase. And people will get on some of these social media, record themselves, dealing with somebody that you and I don't know. They have an argument with one person, and they will get on social media that has hundreds and thousands of people and out-quarrel that person and try to out-curse them and talk all kind of things about them and talk about even sometimes it is their own family they're cursing and think that I have just won a good argument when I did that. And then 2 days later, the person who you were just arguing gets on the social media and joins you and start to now say, so-and-so raised my name and so-and-so, and I want to tell you, blah, 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 and they go down the road too. Yeah. I will, but a quiet answer turn away wrath. That's what the Bible says. A soft answer turns away wrath. In relationships, let's not try that, because we have to go to bed. We have to sleep after that. And we are sleeping and we are going to bed with all of that pain. And the Bible says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. So it just means that so much anger was thrown and so many foul words spoken that they don't want to engage anymore. That is why the person came out of the argument. So they have had their fill. And a solution is respectful and loving because it honors both participants. Just winning a fight is all about bludgeoning the other person into submission. Number 6. Sixth reason why people see what they don't mean. They are masking insecurity. Let me say that again. They are masking insecurity. He says society doesn't have much patience for fear, sadness, and insecurity. On the other hand, anger is an emotion that is often viewed as a strength. People who are sad, not strong, that's what we think. People who are fearful, not strong. But you see people who are angry, emotional, and could come out there. And we are beginning to teach our girls and our women that is what makes you a woman. The more you could cuss, and the more man you could pull down. Unfortunately, so that the finesse of a woman is being lost to a hostile, argumentative, violent feminine world. Yes, I said it. So we've got to pull back that rein and recognize that it was never sexy in men to be cussing. And for women to try to take it over, it is not sexy in them either, neither side. So people who do not know how to be vulnerable may also respond with anger because they've just overwhelmed with those feelings. Vulnerability means I'm able to just sit back, listen to somebody say something to me that I don't like, but give them a listening ear. I can be vulnerable to be open to that. That's what it is. But as soon as it hurts me and I have to now lash back at you, it's not going to work. So it says that people who do so, because they've overwhelmed with those feelings, so they keep the armor on, the shield up, and anger flowing because it keeps people away. Don't come close to me. Why? Because I ain't easy. I will tell you off. I behave in this kind of way. So sometimes a man comes home and he starts to quarrel. He has an insecurity problem. He has a self-esteem problem. He's masking something. He's going through some problem on the job, but he thinks he could curse his wife. He could quarrel with the children to still keep a sense of being manly, being strong, when he might be going through with a whirlwind of emotional turmoil inside of him. The woman who thinks that she could be able to quarrel with the children, quarrel with the neighbor, and argue with her husband, might be masking a sense of insecurity that he cannot deal with. Yes, Ted said, harsh words are spoken, promises are broken, old wounds are open, and love walks out that door. It reminds me of that song. All right, Ted, I don't know the song, but all right. The song that's a very interesting song. So he continues. Anger keeps other people from looking in too closely. So we don't want people to get too close. And seeing that this is a scared or a sad person who may need help. However, that doesn't make it okay for the insecure person to use anger and cruelty as a weapon or a shield. Number 7. All right. So we're down to 9 o'clock. Told you we couldn't get everything done. So we're going to do the part that I wanted to tell you, how to help you to stop. That program that we have coming up is going to help you with that. Everybody should take that. Each and every all should take it. But let me give you number 7. Why some people say things that they don't mean. People make mistakes when they're emotional. Let me say that again. People make mistakes when they are emotional. When you are too highly emotional, you are under the influence. You are not sober. You are driving under the influence. And when you are emotional, you should never make a serious decision when you're emotional. Don't walk out of a relationship when you're emotional. Don't enter a relationship when you're emotional. Do not make a decision to quit anything when you're emotional. Don't put out your husband when you're emotional. Don't take in a woman when you're emotional. Why? Because most times that decision is never rooted in wisdom. It's rooted in your emotional state. And people say things when they're emotional because they are expressing how they feel, not how they mean. So if I feel frustrated, I will talk in frustrated terms, but I don't mean I'm frustrated with you. I am a frustrated person, but it comes across to the other person that you are frustrated with them and they may absorb it as that. Yes. So we've got to learn how to bring that back into control. People make mistakes when they're emotional. And he says people are emotional creatures. Sometimes they do dumb things when they are emotional. Everyone has said something they didn't mean in a flash of anger and lapse of good judgment. They may have felt hurt and snapped back with whatever came to mind. Whatever it is that come to mind, even some things that passed years ago that always solved, it will come back up. I'm telling you, it's different from poor impulse control, as we already spoke about earlier on when we talk about the impulse, because it's a chronic issue. So that's the 7. Let me, for those who just came in, they just called about one by one. 7 reasons why people say things they don't mean. Number 1, they learned it, it was bad behavior. Number 2, poor impulse, they're just spontaneous and they just say things. 3, poor empathy, they cannot put themselves in somebody's shoes to know that what you're saying will hurt this person. Number 4, self-sabotage and low self-esteem. It's an issue that I have not dealt with me, so I take it out on you. All right? And number 5, ego and the desire to win. It is all about competition, and I'm trying to argue to win an argument. And number 6, masking my own insecurity or your own insecurity. You don't feel comfortable with you, so you lash out. And I spoke about the people who are illiterate, sometimes lash out, and people who don't feel good about themselves lash out at other people. And then number 7, people make mistakes when they're emotional, because when we're emotional, we say what we feel instead of what we mean. Yeah. Joanna Jack, you are late, Joanna. Don't come in late into my class again, Joanna. I'm gonna warn you. That's my good friend in St. Vincent. Glad to have her. All right, so this course, I want everybody to take this program. It is priced at a price that everybody can do. $20 US, $150 TT. Once you take the picture, put up your camera on that barcode, that white square, it is going to take you straight to the page where you'll pay. Even if it is in US, all you have to do is put the 20 US, it will translate it into Trinidad and Tobago dollars or your dollars, right? And if it is US, it will use the US. It is for everybody how to say it so others get it. This program is on November 4th from 6 o'clock to 7:30. You will thank me after you take that. We are going to help you to say things the right way. There are some people, they are nice people, but they just have the wrong way of saying things. They come across inappropriate, they come across angry. Some of the choice of words they use are not the right words to get the meaning over. We will help you. Don't think about it. Make that decision and sign up this evening for that program. Okay? If you have any questions, you can message me at 868. The number is on the screen, 688-5363. Let's help you to get better results out of your life. I'm looking forward to all of you all. Hey, let me tell you, I enjoyed you all tonight. As usual, I always look forward every Thursday to being with you. My name is Michael Anthony Trevor, the Phantom Stewart, and I am the host of Mike at Night. We'll see you next week, Thursday, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. All of those great people who joined us tonight for the first time, welcome on board. You have yourself a wonderful day now. God bless you.